It's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Good afternoon. Happy Thursday. This is the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary with you, as always. Rico, what's up?
Hello.
How's it going?
Going fantabulous, sir.
Anything exciting happening today?
Nope.
Just chilling?
Yep.
What did we talk about on the water cooler? I'll be honest. During the water cooler, I went to the football press conference today. Then after I got back, I rewatched the last 30 minutes of the Manti Te'o documentary. I have to admit, because like we were talking about it at Memorial Stadium today. And
why are we talking about Notre Dame during a Husker football press? What is going on?
Well, they hadn't come out yet. They hadn't come out and talked to the media yet. So either way, we were talking about it. A couple TV people and I were talking, and we're like, it was jaw dropping, like how everything happened and the whole situation. Once again, if you have not seen it, I highly recommend that you head over to Netflix. Untold. You just search in the search bar. Untold: The Girlfriend Who Didn't Exist, and it's on the Manti Te'o situation. And the second episode is really interesting, Rico, because, and we'll get to our guest here really quickly. The second episode is super fascinating for me personally because it walks you through kind of how he was feeling during the draft. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I thought, holy crap, I'm not going to get drafted because I stepped up for an interview. There were hundreds of cameras and reporters there. And he's like, it wasn't like a hidden thing for me to know across my forehead, this is the guy who got catfished. Yep. And it's truly, he does a great job, and give credit to Manti Te'o, I guess, for kind of just wearing the emotions on the sleeve while he was being interviewed about all this, because I'm not sure I could have done it if I was catfished and it was as big of a story as it is. So we'll see what happens. As always, 402-464-5685, the Honda Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line, both those open for you guys the entire show, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Have kind of a special special show today.
Special edition of the Happy Hour.
Exactly. So we will talk Husker football later on in the show, but first we're going to be bringing in Lincoln Arneal of Husker Illustrated. He covers volleyball for the Huskers, and covers the number one Husker volleyball program there in the country, ranked number one overall. Lincoln, hello. Have you seen the Manti Te'o documentary?
No, as you were talking, I literally just added it to my Netflix.
Good.
So.
It is. I was telling
1
Jake,
hour each episode, 2 episodes.
Yeah. I was telling Jake Sorensen this morning, I said, if you're going to Ireland, or anybody, if you're heading to Ireland, going on a plane, it's the perfect one to download and just watch it on the plane, because it's going to pass the time in a blink of an eye.
People wonder why it wasn't a 30 for 30, and it's the two Deadspin guys are trashing ESPN for how bad a job they did at vetting the story and everything. Mm-hmm. So I was like, this is probably why ESPN didn't want to touch this one.
Yeah. Well, and then it comes out that like ESPN and multiple the top, sports companies, I guess, if you want to call them that, or media outlets, reported incorrectly. They didn't have the facts all together.
3 days later, 4 days later.
Yeah. It's remarkable to see how people just kind of skipped over the dirty work, laying the groundwork to try to get the facts just to get the story out first. It's truly remarkable. So I recommend, once again, if you want to search it, we've been talking about it a lot on this station throughout our various shows, but if you want to search it, it's called Untold: The Girlfriend Who Didn't Exist on Netflix. It's the Manti Te'o documentary. Highly recommend. Once again, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. If you have any volleyball questions, Husker volleyball questions, we got the expert in here. Lincoln Arneal of Huskers Illustrated joins us. I'll kick it off with this one. Kind of a wild offseason, a little bit, I suppose. I mean, obviously, you have Tyler Hildebrand and Schwarzenbach going to Long Beach State, leaving the Huskers program. And then on top of that, you have Keonole Akana transferring to Texas. And then just a couple weeks ago, you have the whole Kayla Caffey situation. Like, walk us through this offseason and what it's kind of been like. And also like, what are the chances that this hinders Nebraska going forward a little bit?
Well, I think it came in multiple ways, what really made it interesting, too. I think you had that attrition that happened right after the season with Tyler Hildebrand. I think that broke maybe the day or two after the national championship match. So that was in the works. A little bit surprising, but I think that you understand he's his alma mater calling him home. Yeah. So, and then Callie came out the early part of January, along with the news that Nicklin Hames was returning. So you usually expect some sort of attrition, some sort of turnover to happen right after the season before the spring semester starts. So none of that was really surprising, and I kind of got the feeling that those things were going to happen. But I think what really made it interesting was Nebraska goes through the spring, kind of have this really great match, played out in Grand Island, get 6,000 people there. And I think there's a lot of positive energy, positive momentum. Keonole Akana played in that match. Her brother was there as a football recruit. So things were all pointing, hey, this is really going to build towards a special season in Omaha. The Kayla Caffey situation was really kind of stringing out the point at that point. But she was still in the arena wearing street clothes. We figured. And John Cook kind of warned us about this when she said that she was coming back for classes in January, that this is going to be a long process. It'll take a while. And even after that match, he said, hopefully by August it'll be resolved. But then kind of that the first domino fell with Keonole leaving and going to Texas. So I know that ruffled a few feathers. But then kind of the Caffey situation played out a little bit longer as well, too. And then the closer it got, you think that, well, what's taking so long? Yeah. Why is this not being resolved yet? And then, boom, she's in the transfer portal, and the next 1 week later, again, she's also going to Texas.
I guess I'll ask this on a national scale. I mean, you look at the programs: Nebraska, Wisconsin, Texas are really the three, and I'm sure there's more. Stanford's probably up there as well. That are always their mainstays. Yep. How much separation is at the top between a couple schools, like if you want to break them off into tiers, the tier 1 of the Nebraska, Texas, Wisconsin, Stanfords, and then tier 2 of the top, 5 through 10 programs. How much separation is there?
I think this year there is a little bit of separation, mainly, especially those top 3, the Texas, Wisconsin, Nebraska. I think there's a little more uncertainty around Wisconsin and Texas because they have a lot more new parts. I mean, Texas has, I think, 5 transfers in. They have 6 freshmen. They're going to look completely different, and it's going to take a while for all those parts to come together. Wisconsin, they lost a lot of All-Americans. They're bringing in a couple high-profile transfers as well. But Nebraska, Nebraska will turn over a little bit too, but I think that they have their core and their identity is a lot more solidified from last year carrying over to this year. So I think those 3 have really, and they were the 3 teams that everyone talked, who's going to be number 1 in that first poll. But I think there is a little bit of a step down there where you get into the Stanfords, the Kentuckys, the Washingtons, and I think that they'll be very good. The Louisvilles, thank you. Shout out to Danny Busman Kelly, head coach there. So
exactly.
A lot of teams. I think that was the first year. A lot of teams lost a lot as that first kind of post year with that extra year of eligibility. Okay. So I think there's a lot of uncertainty around that, but I think the teams that have proven and have the reputation, cultures built, they'll kind of rise to the top throughout this year.
This is kind of building on top of that. We're speaking with Lincoln Arneal of Huskers Illustrated. This is kind of building on top of that. Were you surprised at all that Nebraska came out as number 1 in the preseason poll, despite all of the changes? And as you said, they have the core returning, but the amount of players that they lost, that they were still number 1 despite Texas getting more number 1 votes?
Yeah, a little bit. And I think that was the key point too, is Texas got 27 first place votes to Nebraska's 24. So I think that, the majority of people agree that Texas is a better team, but they kind of the shuffle between throwing Wisconsin in there. And I think Louisville also got a first place vote. A little bit. I thought Nebraska maybe a solid number 2. I thought some people may give Wisconsin a little bit of credit, give them a little shine for winning the national title last year. And Texas had such an infusion of talent, especially with the late breaking, adding Kayla Caffey, a second team All-American, that may have kind of pushed them to the top. But and Nebraska has a lot of, they have question marks. They have a middle blocker position. They have a setter change possibly going on too. And maybe just because I'm closer and know a lot more of the uncertainties around Nebraska, that everyone sees, Nicklin Hames is coming back. Yeah. Maddie Kubik's coming back. They're loaded. They're ready to go. That sophomore class now is they proved a lot during their first year here. So I think maybe that's what earned Nebraska a little bit more credibility amongst the voters.
So that middle blocker position is kind of one of concern for many Husker volleyball fans. I mean, you've got Caitlin Horde, the All-American transferring in from Penn State, but then behind her, you've got the two freshmen in Maggie Mendelson and Becca Alec. Is that at all a concern for you? I mean, we've heard from Coach Cook himself saying that those Maggie and Becca don't play like freshmen, that they're one of the loudest ones in the gym. But what is your take on that?
I would not use the word concern. I would say intrigue. But I think because there is uncertainty there too. But I mean, you put in Caitlin Horde, she's going to be phenomenal. I mean, we watched her the last 4 years play for Penn State, and she would just Nebraska would put blocks up and she'd hit over them, around them. She is a talent in the middle. And even, I mean, especially watching Becca Alec this spring, she was here, she enrolled in January, and watch her go through the spring, watch her play some beach volleyball, and also just watching her. I mean, she is physically imposing. I think that she's going to be a special one here during her 4 years in Nebraska. How soon that kicks in, I think there'll be some mistakes. So I think that if she and battling with Maggie Mendelson, she's a little bit unknown. I mean, she played with the under 19 Pan Am Cup this summer. So I think there's a lot of potential there. I think it's a matter of which combination they go with and who can really kind of be more consistent, or that especially at that second middle blocker spot between the two freshmen. Caitlin Horde, I think she's a known quantity, known entity. She's made a big impact on the culture and leadership style of the team so far already.
Okay, speaking about Maggie Mendelson real quickly, for all of our listeners don't know, remember 402-464-5685. If you have any questions, you can shoot them our way. We're talking to Lincoln Arneal here of Huskers Illustrated. Talking about Maggie Mendelson for a moment, if our listeners don't know, signed both for volleyball and women's basketball. Is there any clarity on how that situation is going to unfold yet? Because I think that's one of the more curious storylines is how are they going to juggle? Obviously, volleyball, the national championship is played in December, but Husker women's basketball starts late November, but with games, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that volleyball will take kind of precedence during the fall through December. And she has 5 years to play for, so if they want to use a red shirt, possibly 1 year, so she can focus solely. But I think she's ready to go, and she is a great talent. I mean, she's a nationally ranked top 100 recruit in both. I mean, 100 is probably a little low. She's probably top 50, top 25 recruit for both basketball and volleyball too. So and she spent some time with the basketball program. The first part, when she first got here in June, she practiced with them, worked out. Then she went away to go play with the junior national team in their tournament. So I think she hasn't worked out a lot with the Nebraska volleyball team.
Okay.
But I think she played at a high level at the Pan Am Cup, and she was captain of that team that won the gold medal in that tournament. So I think that there's a lot of talent there. And it may take a little bit, but I think volleyball will win out, and then by the time Big Ten season it comes around, she'll be able to go for basketball.
Nebraska volleyball obviously has a lot of, whether it's incoming recruits or even just players that play on the national teams, junior national teams, and things like that. How much value does that have or give Nebraska as a program for future recruiting, for current recruiting? How much value does that give John Cook and power when he's, not that he needs anymore, but just power when he's recruiting to be like, listen, this is our track record and this is how they've performed at Nebraska?
I think it's a big part of the recruiting process too. I mean, there was a cool photo that before that U19 Pan Am Cup, where they had I think 20 some girls come in for the tryouts. Of those, 7 of them are future Nebraskans. Maggie Mendelson's the one here now, but I think there were 3 from that are part of the 2023 class and 3 that are part of the 2024 class. So, I mean, it's a pipeline of Nebraska recruiting anybody they want. But I think where a lot of the recruiting part comes in is looking at the elder statesmen, the Jordan Larsons, the Kelsey Robinsons, the Justine Wong-Arantes, who are playing for the senior national team too, and seeing that pipeline. Because a lot of the players come in and say, I want to play in the Olympics someday, or I want to play in the World Championship. And Cook can point to examples of multiple players that have gone on played for the national team at that senior level and won gold medals and played at elite level post college.
Wow.
This is just kind of a silly question. How many years in a row is this Nebraska volleyball team going to get the #1 recruit in the nation?
They've had a long run of success. I think you point to that Jalen Reyes he's the recruiting guru that really kind of makes those connections and identifies who they want to reach out to. They can recruit anybody they want. And I think it helps too that a lot of them have ties to Nebraska. I mean, you look at, the current class of sophomores, the top 3 recruits, depending on which recruiting service you want, were from Minnesota, from Nebraska, and another one from Texas who had Nebraska ties to her family. The other one, Hayden Kubik was ranked number 1 too. Her older sister was playing in Nebraska already. Looking down the road, another one, Harper Murray. They plucked her out of Michigan's backyard in Ann Arbor. She's coming to Nebraska, and then they got a recruit for the 25 class who's from Kansas City as well too. So it's a little bit fortunate that volleyball is a big deal in the Midwest, so they don't have to travel very far to get a lot of these elite recruits. But I think, again, going back to that track record of getting them on national teams and building the connections, not only with the Nebraska staff, but other elite girls who are playing volleyball who said, let's all go play together at Nebraska, and allowing that to happen. So
I'm looking at their roster right now. They have 4 freshmen and 5 sophomores. How well is this thing set up for the future? And I kind of want to talk about recruiting also, because we're seeing young players start to not only talk to colleges, but even commit, like you mentioned, 2025 recruits even. So talk a little bit about how well this thing is set up for years to come for Nebraska.
It's set up well. And they did implement some new rules a couple years ago too, where you cannot talk to or have any recruiting conversations until the summer before their junior year. So they could talk to recruits in June of this summer for that, or the 2024 is what I should say. 2024.
That's right.
25 they cannot talk to you yet until next summer.
Gotcha.
But sorry, Sky Pierce, who's from Kansas City, she's a 2024 recruit.
Okay.
So, and she's number 1. She's a top 10 recruit.
Because I know there's a lot of sticky tape where they can reach out to schools, but coaches can't reach out. And I don't. I'll be honest. I don't know. It's a really sticky situation.
Well, but you look at how it used to be too. You had players committing before their freshman year.
Exactly.
Lexi Rodriguez, she came in for that Dream Team camp before her freshman year and committed. She's proven to be a very good recruit.
It worked out.
The Rolfson twins committed right after or during their 8th grade year.
Yeah, but I think those are great examples of it turning out well. There's a lot of examples of it not turning out well. So I think the NCAA came in and said, let's slow it down. Let's put the brakes on this, especially for the female athletes who are more physically mature and realizing their talents a lot earlier in their high school career.
That's what I was going to say, because you see it across all sports. With college baseball is the perfect example, where you see guys commit their freshman year of high school, but you don't know how they're going to pan out. And it actually ends up, rarely do the guys that commit the freshman year of high school actually get to commit to that school, whether it's for coaching change reasons, whether it's because the university pulls their scholarship because they just didn't develop the way they planned. So it's kind of weird. So I always am fascinated by the recruiting rules and guidelines that the NCAA puts in place, because it's like I said, it's a lot of sticky tape where sometimes recruits have to be the ones to reach out, and there's such dead periods where coaches can't talk to students or recruits, I guess. So it's a really sticky situation. Talking about this team, you mentioned Nicklin Hames comes back, and Nebraska had to figure out a way to bring her back to where and give her credit, give Nicklin credit for being okay taking a step back and understanding that they got to move this program along with Kennedy Orr at setter. Talk about just that adjustment for not only Nicklin, but also for Nebraska as a program working with a new setter.
Yeah, I think that was, very mature. Nicklin, she was starting setter for 4 years, and realized she had her turn, that had COVID not happen, that's her career. She's done. So I think given the opportunity to have that bonus year, really kind of I think she's very future oriented with that and focused on what's coming up. And I think that playing a different position allows her to kind of take that bigger picture view. But a lot of that hedges on, as you mentioned, Kennedy Orr, making sure she's healthy, making sure that she can really take the reins. She came in as a very touted recruit, and unfortunately suffered a knee injury her senior year of high school, and that's kind of lingered on a little bit. And she was forced into action because of Nicklin hurting her ankle early last year and had mixed results. You could see a little bit of rust in her game a little bit at that point, but she's had another full year, hoping that she can get to the level where she needs to be. And during last year, Cook would say that she's doing things in the gym that no other setter can do. So she has that potential. She has that really high ceiling, but it's making sure that her legs, her knees are healthy enough to operate that for a full grind of a season.
So we're talking to Lincoln Arneal, Huskers Illustrated. Lexi Rodriguez, All-American, Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten. Should have been Freshman of the Year, but we're not going to get into that. Where does she take a step forward?
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest thing is just her presence on the court and being kind of more of a floor leader too. And that's one of the things they harped on. Going back to our teams, discussion about national teams, she was captain of the U21 team and the Pan Am Cup, and I think that really allowed her a chance to work on those leadership skills and kind of commanding the floor, taking control of that back row. So I think that's where. That's where she can take that next step too, is just directing her teammates on back row and taking charge. I think that'll lead to a better overall cohesive unit too. So that's where she can really take a step forward. I mean, she still makes jaw-dropping plays once or twice a game. It's like, how did she get that? What was going on that? But she makes such amazing plays. But I think it's her leadership that will really elevate the team. I think it'd be interesting to see kind of her skill development, just more consistency. I think there was a couple times, I mean, everyone has freshman moments their first year out too, and learning the grind of the Big Ten. So I think she can make a step forward that, but the biggest area is her leadership and kind of owning the court when she's on it.
We're talking Huskers volleyball with Lincoln Arneal of Huskers Illustrated, and a couple more before we let you go. I'm curious, what's this team's weakness? Like, they're ranked first in the country, and the Big Ten is the best conference in volleyball, and I want to talk about kind of the expansion here in a couple minutes. But the Big Ten's the best conference for volleyball, and not to mention the Final Four is in Omaha. So, like, what's this team's weakness, if there is one?
I think from last year to this year, last year we saw it a lot, is if Nebraska needs a kill, who is getting the ball to put it away. And I think that leads a little bit into the weakness, is just the hitting efficiency of the outside hitters. It was kind of lower, a little bit lower than they want. Maddie Kubik was around, I think, 240, 250. And Allie Batenhorst struggled at times. And Lindsey Krause at times to the right side. So I think it's efficiency of their outside hitters, and also who is going to put it away. Nebraska needs a kill. They need a point. They've given up a couple, need to stop a run, or just need to put a set away. Who is getting that kill? And who's doing that? I'm
curious, like, how will serving take a step back? Because I know Kiana Leokana was a very good server.
She had
she had streaks all throughout the season last year. Is there a concern that might take a step back, or not really?
I don't think. I mean, it may a little bit, but
not noticeable.
Not noticeably. No, I think that they'll find Nicklin's a very good server to kind of fill in that role too, and it's a matter of who is going to serve, whether it's Lindsey Krause or Allie Batenhorst or Whitney, if Whitney Lonson's going to serve too. I think from what we haven't seen, I think there's a potential. I mean, there may be a slight downgrade too, but the way Nebraska serves as a team cohesive unit, I think they'll still be pretty solid.
Gotcha. Okay, last but certainly not least.
This one actually comes from the text line.
This one comes from the text line, and I wanted to ask you it.
Faisal 5 times was wondering, and I'm going to change one word. How massive is the addition of USC and UCLA to the Big Ten for volleyball?
Oh, it's big. I mean, it just makes the Big Ten a juggernaut. I mean, the Big Ten already before those two is the best volleyball conference in the country too. And to add to that, I mean, they haven't been at the elite level the last few years, but they have the legacy. USC, they reloaded. They had a little bit of a down year, but they reloaded. Skylar Fields from Texas transferred there too. Yep. They got a lot of talent coming in. UCLA has been, I mean, they're a perennial tournament team, make the Sweet 16. So I think that it'll be big and just kind of expand that West Coast reach. I mean, you talk about like recruiting wise too. I mean, Nebraska can recruit from anywhere, but now they can sell players from California. Hey, you can come watch us, and you'll get to see in your own backyard as well too, and be part of the Big Ten network. So I think that it's a big, and just adds to the legacy. I think, and I did this, that of all of the national championships won, I think Big Ten teams have won. I think it's just under half of all of the volleyball championships ever contested between Penn State and Nebraska. I mean, USC's won a couple, UCLA's won a couple. So it's a big number. I mean, I think it was 20 of the 41 volleyball championships ever contested have won by Big Ten schools that are in the Big Ten now, or will be, I should say.
If you were a betting man, Lincoln, and this is the last one before we let you go, if you were a betting man, how much confidence would you put on Nebraska to win the Natty?
Oh, I'm a very bad gambler.
So am I.
I'm very conservative when it comes to putting my money on that. I would think that if you get some good odds on that, they have a good chance. I think that they have a very good chance to make it to Omaha.
Gotcha.
That's where I feel very confident they will make it to Omaha. And then once you get there, it's a matter of
who knows
hot,
what happens.
Whether you have a 6'9" freshman who is all of a sudden unstoppable and runs through the Final Four and wins MVP like Anna Spark from Wisconsin.
Yeah. So when they do make it to Omaha, can you help me get my credential?
Oh yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. So we just got this one from texter Dirty Tony and the boys asks, could you ever see men's volleyball catch on in Nebraska?
Yes, I think we've seen a lot of growth in the sport nationally. Indiana just added at the high school level, so I think it has to start. Okay. I think that's where it has to start. I mean, high schools have to start offering boys volleyball there, and I think that volleyball at the collegiate level for men's, I think it could follow there too. It's a very different game.
Okay.
It's a lot of side out serve, bump set, kill. I think the women's game. I think is a lot more athletic. It's a lot more enjoyable to watch, whereas men's is a lot more power and short rallies.
It's a lot of above the net play.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. That's fascinating. That's fascinating. All right, Lincoln, appreciate the time. We'll definitely have you on down the road, talk to you some more, especially once the season begins. Once again, Lincoln Arneal of Huskers Illustrated. Give him a follow on Twitter and make sure you're checking out all of his volleyball coverage the entire season. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll dive into Husker football. What did Mark Whipple and Brian Applewhite and the other coaches have to say today? We'll talk about that, dissect it. Want to hear your thoughts all show long. 402-464-5685. We'll be right back on the Happy Hour on the Ticket.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, buying a used vehicle sucks, and the biggest problem is who can you trust? Hey, this is Carl from Price Right Auto out here at West O Street in Lincoln. Here's from us. They want transparent pricing with no games. We have all of our pricing on our website, plus a Carfax report. We don't want to buy a lemon. We include a 3-month warranty on all of our vehicles. We don't want to play games. Just make it simple. We saw that with non-commissioned salespeople. Can you trust us? Just check out our Google reviews. Again, this is Carl from Price Right Auto in West O. Check us out at PriceRightAuto.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club, or space club, and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? No, forget that. How about a margarita club? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge and join the best club in town. 10 flavors of margarita like Maui Wowie, Burnt Pineapple, and Mango Tango. Try all 10 of them and receive your own souvenir margarita glass. Make it your new Monday night tradition. $4 margaritas and $4 taco baskets. Grab the crew and head on over. Monday nights or any night. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
I can't believe I just scratched that card. Find my insurance card.
Dude, what do you have in this glove box? Ew, are these socks dirty?
Oh, forget about the socks. I need my insurance card.
Just pull it up on the State Farm mobile app.
But I can do that? Oh, hey, I can do that.
Yep, it's called service.
I can file a claim on here too?
Yeah, it's called service.
Whoa, I can call my agent too?
It's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Bagels & Joe is in full summer mode. They'll add cold foam to the top of any iced coffee. Plus, they now have a Joe Coffee Club. Get unlimited drip coffee for just $8.95 per month. And don't forget their delicious breakfast burritos and sandwiches. Bagels & Joe, 4 Lincoln locations.
Did you know that the U.S. has added over 1,100 new breweries in the last 18 months? Learn more by shopping at Myers Cork and Bottle, 13th and South, and by tuning into Thirsty Thursdays with Kevin Myers, because sports are better with a drink in your hand and a friend at your side.
Hey, batter, 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 wings, splatter, splatter, splatter. Catch all this season's baseball action at one of your neighborhood Lincoln locations. Get League of Their Own wings, burgers, nachos, and ringers while catching all the action. Stop into Wings and Rings located on O Street in Meridian Park and 40th and Old Cheney in Williamsburg Village. Or place your order online at wingsandrings.com. That's wingsandrings.com, Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Empire Fence and Netting in Waverly is now hiring for several positions. They're looking for a fence installer for both commercial and residential, for local projects, and ones that require travel. They also have openings for operators, dirt work, welding positions, and applicants with CDLs are very desirable. If you're looking for a locally operated business that provides excellent work for customers and great benefits and care for its employees, email info@empire-fence.com or give them a call at 402-682-7658. Empire Fence and Netting. People always ask, what are Jake and Sip like when they're off the air? Well, the answer probably won't surprise you.
Hey, Jake, your Honda's looking a little dirty.
Says the guy whose license plate is barely visible.
I mean, do you even care about that thing anymore?
It gets a little uncomfortable. Now, that's when I jump in.
Hey, whoa. Mark, did you get a new car?
Nope, just took my car down to Nebraska Auto Detail. Joe and the staff made the outside and the inside look amazing. Maybe you guys need to go.
Okay, wise guy.
Settle down, Jake.
Book your appointment today at nebraskaautodetail.com.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels and Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday. You lost Wednesday. You're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels and Joe.
Get a lot of advice about self-care these days, but one of the most important self-care steps we can take is making sure we're financially secure later in life. For small steps you can take to save for retirement, visit WeSaySaveIt.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Great volleyball conversation with Lincoln Arneal of Huskers Illustrated in the first segment. If you missed any of that, it'll be on the podcast page here in about an hour or so. So make sure you head over there. And in all honesty, Rico, like we barely talked about this year's team.
Yeah.
We talked more, how does the recruiting world work? What's the value of adding?
I should have asked him about He mentioned Hayden Kubik. I'm wondering how she's progressing, being the number 1 recruit in last year's class.
Yeah.
But
I just find it fascinating
the youth that this team has, the youth and the skill that this team has is just remarkable. And if you're not paying attention to Husker volleyball, you need to.
Once again, 4 freshmen, 5 sophomores on this roster. And I just think it's so fascinating, the value that they're given in going to and playing for national teams. And when you're talking about recruiting, like we said, the recruiting classes, Nebraska is the Alabama of volleyball. Like, you want to be Alabama, and not many places with whatever sport can you lose an All-American and feel like maybe you didn't take a step back.
Can you lose an All-American and gain an All-American? In the same offseason.
Exactly. All right, 402-464
and have an All-American switch positions.
Yeah, exactly, and still be okay with it because guess what? You have a former number 1 overall recruit. 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the starter Heyman text line. I guess Kennedy Orr would be number 1 out of Minnesota. Gus says this: what the heck is going on down at the Ticket? I go on vacation for several days and so many changes. We're on at 1 p.m. now, Gus.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't know if you were listening earlier, but that 6 to 8 show changed. It's a new show called Early Break with Sip and Jake. So I hope
never heard before.
Yeah, I hope everybody enjoys that. And then from 8 to 10 is now Raf and AD with Nicholas Sainert running the board for those two guys. From 10 to noon is the captain and the black shirt.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. With Vershawn Jackson and apparently Terrell Farley with Bach running the board. And then following that is Water Cooler with me and Bach. And following that, right now, Happy Hour, me and Nick. After us will be On the Block with Strick and Nate.
Yes.
And then following that, Old School with DP and Jay Foreman. DP is currently in Utah, I believe, for a UFC event. Jay might be back. I'm not sure. He had some business to take care of.
He had secret agent stuff.
Super secret agent stuff.
Or Shocker.
Yeah,
Stopper.
super secret agent stuff. So you'll get Jake Sorensen, I believe, and maybe Nathan. I'm not actually sure who's going to be on that show. But
so
it's supposed to be Old School.
John and Cortland said this: gentlemen, I was going to come down to the station tomorrow and grill some stuffed burgers. Yum. Talk to Strick and Nate at High School Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, I found out that I have been sick. Given that, I will have to find another Friday or Saturday in the future. Highly disappointed. Have a great weekend.
Dang it.
John, you have yourself a great weekend as well. Feel better, man.
Yeah, let's find it. Let's find another day so we can get some of them burgers.
Yeah,
that sounds amazing.
stuffed burgers says or sounds really good. A man named Ashley says loving this new program schedule. 2 hours of Rico for the win.
Hey.
Weren't you? You were always you had 3 hours.
I mean,
in a way,
the first 2 hours were not me.
Yeah, it's true.
It was DP and J.
It was DP
and
J,
I would
just
interject.
chilling.
I had a segment.
Do you miss what is up with that? Or
I
what's
do
with
miss
that?
driving. I do miss driving Jay crazy with the song. Yes.
What's up with that?
Yeah,
that's
I just have to have Nate do it now.
I don't know if Nate could handle that. That's a big responsibility.
I'm gonna do it on Vershawn's show. We'll see. I think Vershawn's gonna like it though, so it's not gonna be as fun.
Will he?
I think so.
Vershawn doesn't like when you break in with things that aren't on his schedule.
That is true.
I found that out.
It'll definitely. I will make sure that it's not football also, because I know how much he loves not football.
Somebody says, "How do you make a living working 2 hours a day?" We don't work just 2 hours a day.
That's it. That's all I do. I come in here, I do my 2 hours of the show, then I leave.
He's pretty big on TikTok.
Yep. No big deal.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Dance.
Tyler, that probably won't happen, unfortunately.
Nope, that's not gonna happen. And that nickname needs to go away.
Yep, that nickname needs to die. Sorry, Tyler. Appreciate it.
Throw it in the trash.
Yep. Throw it in the garbage.
Anyways, you were at football today.
Yes. Okay. So should we talk football?
I think we should, because some stuff was said.
We're 9 days away from Husker football season. And Rico, we're starting to make the rejoins for the pregame shows. We're starting to make the rejoins for the postgame shows, starting to make little hype things. And we're juiced up.
Let's get it.
Like I'm juiced.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm pretty pumped.
Week 0 is a week away. A week and 2 days.
That's true. Week and 2 days. 9 days away, Nebraska Northwestern. As always, just a little bit of a plug here. You guys know where to find your pregame and postgame coverage. Nobody else is going to have the kind of coverage that we have. So
nobody.
And for the length that we're going to have. So it's going to be great.
It's a lot.
It's going to be awesome. So stick around. We'll announce those coming down the road. Once again, 402-464-5685. Here is the most interesting thing I saw or heard today. Little Scott Van Pelt touch on it.
Nice. You had to shave your head.
I do. Brian Applewhite said that he is still trying to find a number one running back. Now,
feelings.
Does this make us nervous?
Yes.
Or, and I guess with this, let's go to talk about the quarterback as well. Because Mark Whipple.
That's the most interesting I heard.
Yeah, so maybe this is the most interesting.
No, you already had yours.
Okay, so Rico's most interesting thing that he heard today was Mark Whipple saying that he's leaving the starting quarterback decision up to Scott Frost. Now, once again, I'll ask the same question. Does that make you worried or comfortable? Because I've been asking myself this the last couple of days, Rico.
Yeah.
And I keep going back and forth.
Is it driving you crazy?
Yes. When you talk about stability within a program, does this offense feel like there's more stability within it this season or last season? Stability.
I don't think either. Well,
because think about it this way.
You could talk about stability yet with the offense, just because you have yet to get into the season. Now, if we're 5 games in and we're still not sure who the starting running back is, and we've had a couple games or a couple instances where your quote unquote starter quarterback gets benched for the backup, then we can talk about an issue with stability. But as for right now, I think just trying to build a depth chart and get things together up until this first game, I don't think it's unstable. I am worried that you have yet to pick a starting quarterback and a starting running back, but with the amount of depth you have, at least at running back, I'm not that concerned. At quarterback, at least to me, I'm a little concerned.
Okay, so an unnamed texter right here, and these two kind of work in with each other. Why does the media think the coaches are going to tell them everything? LOL. They know who their guys are. It's almost game week. Then a second texter asks, what are the odds they're just keeping info from Northwestern? Now, here's what I'd say about that. I think Nebraska's at this point where, as a program, I guess the media doesn't need to know everything. That's not why I'm saying all this stuff. We don't need to know everything.
This isn't about us.
No. I think that Nebraska, however, is in a position where a lot of people want to make sure that they have a plan, that they are going in a direction, in a certain direction and in a positive direction. And I think in regards to what are the odds they're just keeping info from Northwestern, I feel like that's an area where Nebraska has actually hindered themselves in years past, worrying too much about the opponent, about what the opponent is doing when they're not getting their ducks in order. I think that's somewhere that's actually hindered Nebraska in years past, where they've tried to outthink the opponent when they have confidence in things that they're doing within their program, which I know there are a couple things this season that I feel like just line up, do what you know, do what you know best, right? And what you're most confident in. And there you go. Make the defense stop you. Like on a much smaller scale, run a Chancellor Brewington play every single time you're at the 2-yard line. Why did they do that? Because it worked every single time. And you know darn well that the opponent was lining up thinking, well, we know what's coming. Every time Wisconsin lines up, you know what's coming. 3rd and 1, you know who's getting the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more of a, hey, I'm gonna line up this way. You're gonna know that we're lining up this way, and you try to stop me because guess what? I know you can't. And I just feel like
better than you.
Yeah, we're just better. And I just feel like Nebraska is eventually now there's the right people in charge right now. There's the correct people in charge to where they can get to a point and say, we're gonna line up this way, and you try to stop us, and we don't think you can.
I'm not asking for them to tell me everything. That's not what I'm asking for. And I'm sure, as many people have said, I'm sure that in their rooms, in the locker room, in the coaching rooms, they know who their starters are going to be. They know who's going to take the first snap against Nebraska. They know who's going to get the first, or against Northwestern. They know who's going to get the first handoff against Northwestern. So I'm not asking for that, but I'm just saying that if this is true, if what they are telling us is true, that is troubling.
Yeah.
And as you just said, why are you trying to just keep information from Northwestern? It doesn't matter if Northwestern knows who your starting quarterback is if you have that much confidence in your starting quarterback. If you have that much confidence in your running back room, it doesn't matter if they know who your starter is. Everybody knows who Wisconsin's starter is. Everybody knows who Texas's starter is. But guess what? Still going to hand the ball off to him, and you still got to stop him.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of Texas running back, Bijan Robinson, I don't know if you saw this, Rico, signed a deal to make his own mustard.
Weird.
It's called Bijan Mustardson. And it's Bijan Robinson's mustard. Anyway,
I think it should have just been Bijan Mustard because it's like Dijon Mustard.
Yeah, exactly.
Bijan Mustard.
Either way.
They're going too far.
They're going too far. However, once again, and I think the reason that this is a discussion point, right? Because in response to why does the media think that they should tell us and all that,
don't you want to know?
Well, no, it's a discussion point because the last time we talked to Scott Frost was last Saturday. They had a scrimmage on Sunday, and he said that they would know the depth chart after that scrimmage.
Or they would have a good idea.
They would have a good idea of the depth chart after that scrimmage.
And I mean, before that, you heard Mark Whipple say it's Casey Thompson 1.
Well,
Chubba
so
Purdy 2,
you heard
Logan Smothers 3.
Exactly. So you heard Frost say it's Casey Thompson's job to lose, and then you heard Mark Whipple say that Chubba's doing really well and that they're competing for the job.
But he also said he was number 2.
He also said he was number 2. And so there's just, I think it's more of just trying to get clarity, trying to learn the path that they're taking as a staff, as a program. And we get this question on the text line. We can dive deeper into it here in the next segment. But are you still expecting, Christian Lincoln asked, are you still expecting Casey Thompson to take the first snap against Northwestern? I'd still be surprised if he wasn't the starter. I would be as well. I truly think Casey's going to be the guy that goes out there first for Nebraska. I also hope that Nebraska gets in a position where we get to see Chubba Purdy, because I don't think that the leash should be long for Casey Thompson.
I don't think it should be short.
And vice versa. I don't think the leash should be short or long for Chubba Purdy if he were the starter. I think Nebraska is in a position, Rico, where they got to find a guy that's going to win them football games. That's the bottom line. The bottom line. And what's great about this season is nobody's hitched their wagon to anybody.
That's true. But if you've got too short of a leash, I mean, to win football games, you're going to have to take chances. And if you've got too short of a leash, if your starter, quote unquote, makes one mistake and the leash is so short that you pull them after that, I mean, that's just not going to get the job done, because you're going to have guys looking over their shoulders every single time something doesn't go right. If you go 3 and out, you're going to be like, oh, I'm not even going to go out for the next series. If you throw one interception because you thought you had somebody open and maybe the ball was tipped, or maybe the wide receiver just kind of, it fell out of their hands and somebody picked it off, you're sitting there like, oh, I'm not going to go out for the next. You can't take those chances, because if you do and it goes wrong, you're not going out for the next series, or you're not going to play. You're not going to start the next game. So I believe the leash should be short, but it should also be, decently lengthy.
A reasonable length. Like, if the guys just doesn't have it in a game, right? We always hear the practice players term, or the game players kind of term, where it was, you could be a bad practice player, but as soon as lights go on and it's a Saturday afternoon and you're playing somebody with a different name across their jersey, then you turn on it, you flip a switch, or vice versa. You're a great practice player, but once the lights come on, you kind of just, you get your yellow socks out. So like, I think it can't be too short of a leash. I do want to address this real quick, Rico, before we take a break and get to the crossover. Scott says this. I think Scott Frost doesn't want to name a starter because he wants all quarterbacks to stay, so we don't have a Jebbia situation. Now, I would understand that if you didn't want to name a starter at the start of fall camp, right? And I think that's incorrect if you do throw or name a starter at the beginning of fall camp.
Unless it's evident.
Yes. But I don't know if this staff, once again, should worry about transfers or has the luxury to worry about guys leaving their program. Like, and with that being said, you look up and down the quarterback room and Casey Thompson just got here. Chuba Purdy just got here. Logan Smothers said that he wasn't going to transfer. And he understood that, hey, I'm probably not going to start, but I'm not going to transfer. So then you ask, okay, if a Heinrich Harburg leaves, what were the opportunities for him to see the field this year? And then Richard Torres just got here as a true freshman. But going back to the bigger point, Rico, I just don't know if this staff can afford to worry about keeping guys here. And make decisions based on a timeline of as long as these guys don't transfer, and making decisions on a timeline of we just got to keep these guys happy. They just need to win, as everybody knows.
And also, if you're a quarterback and you were going to leave if you weren't named the starter, as soon as that first game kicks off and you're not the starter, I mean, you're probably still going to transfer.
Yeah.
Just because the season started doesn't mean you can't enter the transfer portal. You won't play this season, but if you were going to transfer before the season's 1 week before the season started, you weren't going to play this next season either way. So I don't think they're worried about that. I don't think that's an issue.
Okay. Do we have time to get to another topic, or should we take a break? Not topic, but just a question. Because I have no idea.
We can take a break and get to the question.
Okay, let's do that. The guy who got pushed into a snowbank by T.O. about running backs. Huh?
Great name.
Great name, yes. We'll get to your question about running backs coming up in a minute, because this is a really interesting take, and I think there's a stipulation on it. So we'll dive into it here in a moment. We'll bring in Nathan. We'll bring in Strick for the crossover. Walk you guys into the 2 o'clock hour and on the block coming up next. We'll be right back on the Happy Hour 93.7 The Ticket.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese Beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock, or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
People first is more than a nice sentiment. At American Senior Benefits, it's the mission. If you're ready for a career where you can truly put your customers' needs ahead of everything else, this is for you. American Senior Benefits is one of the leading senior market insurance product distributors in the country, and they're looking for high-energy applicants with strong communication skills. Enjoy on-the-job training, a fun work environment, and unlimited income potential. Visit asbmidwest.com to learn more. American Senior Benefits.
They say one great thing leads to another, and that's especially true when you visit a Great Clips salon. When you sit down for a haircut with the skilled and friendly stylist at one of our thousands of convenient Great Clips locations, they'll not only make your hair look great, they'll make you feel great too. And that's something you can't help but share with the world. Download our online check-in app today and opt in to get a Ready Next text when you're up next. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $22.58 per hour. And other select jobs is starting at $24.28 per hour, with wages growing up to $30.30 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends. That's the greatest compliment we can receive. If you've been in an accident, we'll get you back in your vehicle as quickly as possible. Our technicians care about you and your family and repair your vehicle to factory standards. We handle your claim from start to finish and provide a free loaner car. Stop by for a free estimate. Eustace Body Shop, just south of 88th and Highway 2.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Beatrice Bakery. They ship cakes all over the country. True story. But take a look inside their shop and you'd have no idea. This is a Nebraska product through and through. Not some massive production plant. Local people making delicious cake just for you. So go see them in their new storefront location in downtown Beatrice. Grab some grandma's fruit cake, some chocolate rum cake, or my favorite, the turtle nut cake. And say hi to Rick and the crew. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Swing for the fences with single-game tickets to see Lincoln's best lineup on and off the diamond. The Salt Dog season is stacked with reasons to spend your summer at Haymarket Park. Get a free general admission ticket when you donate 3 non-perishable food items on Triple Play Tuesdays. Eat $2 Fairbury brand dogs on Wiener Wednesdays. Score drink specials on Thirsty Thursdays. Then win your weekend with Firework Fridays, Souvenir Saturdays, and Sunday Family Fun Days presented by Casey's. Get tickets at saltdogs.com.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
You look at those big tackles they have mammoth tackles. Neither of those guys are particularly nimble. Bryce Benhart is never going to be confused with Allen Iverson.
No, I don't think that he will. That's the first time in history forever going forward that Allen Iverson will be in the same sentence as Bryce Benhart.
They better be able to mash.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money. But like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. Check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget and your timeline. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Rico with you as always, and we're joined by the Husker Hall of Famer, Eric Strickland. What's up?
Yay, yay.
How's it going?
Building, baby.
How we feeling?
Listen, as always, I must say that I am enlightened. I'm fresh. I'm clear of mind. I'm feeling healthy. I'm feeling strong.
Yep.
It is a beautiful day to be on 93.7 The Ticket.
It sure is.
With you guys.
How juiced are you for your European voyage?
Excursion?
Boy, listen, this is no slide to WNBA or to what's going on over there.
Yep.
I don't even want to pronounce the name.
Yep.
I don't want it to be as if I'm putting, but please believe I'm deep in my bags looking for anything that just look like
just double checking
a reference to or even a book. I'm even a book that has the name on it. I don't want nothing on it.
He's throwing his bag in the wash.
It's not as important as when you come back. Just don't bring anything back.
Well, I think going both ways.
Okay, going both ways. But if you get into any sticky situations over there, Stricky.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want you to come
Stricky,
back
can you
and
bring me a bobblehead.
Of who?
I don't know.
Conor McGregor. I want one of Conor McGregor. Wow. If you can find one, let me know.
I'm gonna do a little perusing around there and see. My buddy, it's crazy. My buddy over there, Devin Shepard right now is he's sending me pictures of he's in Kuwait right now and just sending me pictures and heading to Bahrain. He is the freaking European travel king. So when he said let's meet up, let's connect, I was like, cool. So I'm gonna go a little bit earlier, go to a few cities, and then shoot over to Dublin and have a good time and clack a couple things with Jake Sorensen.
I need videos.
A couple waters.
I need videos of you and Sorensen in a pub singing some beautiful songs,
Irish music
with the Irish people.
Well, so here's going to be the
beautiful people of Ireland.
Jake is going with family.
Yeah,
Stricky's going solo.
It'll be fine.
So
two different groups.
It's a different
vibes.
It's a different vibe. It's going to depend on whether or not Jake can dip away or. Because you
bring the family with you.
You've got you guys all seen the movie Boomerang, right?
Yep.
No.
Wait.
Oh my gosh, you're okay. That's right. You're not a movie
I don't
buff.
watch movies. I don't watch movies.
You remember when he said when John I can't remember his name, the one that's bang 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 all the time, that comedian. I can't remember the old guy. Yeah, you guys, Sutter Heyman text 942.
Just help him out. Come on. Yeah,
he's a guy. Help him. He played on Friday. He was the dad on Friday. John something.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, so you remember when he opened his jacket in Boomerang and he said, "Dang!" He said, "You got to coordinate." You got to coordinate.
He has that little. You got to
exactly. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he, in essence, Jake, is got to coordinate that situation. When you go with family, exactly. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, what if he just brings you into the family?
Oh, I become
an
honorary ESS,
an
Strickland Sorensen.
Oh, an honorary Sorensen.
Oh, I'd be down for that.
Okay, perfect.
Maybe if my sister-in-law has a beautiful sister, then it can be a real.
There it is.
There you go.
Affair.
How about that?
There you go. Perfect.
Y'all are retarded. I knew y'all would go for that.
Perfect. You're
I
set
knew
up.
y'all would go
You're
for
set
that.
up. You're good to go.
Straight. Y'all came off the short bus. Okay, that's no snide to that. Anyway.
Came off the short bus. Anyway,
I'm a short guy.
Anyway, what's up with that?
We're done with that. That is retired. That is dead.
Retired?
Happily dead.
No.
Yep, happily dead.
It's never dead.
Nate, I can't believe you retired. What's up with that?
It's never.
It's dead.
It's not dead.
It's dead. It will not be sung.
What have y'all been talking about today?
There's
been some great news out there today. Some stuff has popped up.
Woke up this morning and I got out of bed. Got a big old cup of coffee to clear my head. Telephone rang and you wanna chat. Well, sit on down and tell me what's up with that.
Hey! Hey! What's up with that? Oh, what's up with that? Ooh wee! Hey! Say what's up with that? What's up with that?
He said, she said, we said, he said, what up with that? Who knew you knew? Say what? Who knew? What up with that?
You got to get the shirt.
What is happening?
If you do not have the What's Up With That shirt, log in 93.7 The Ticket, the ticketfm.com app. You've got to get the What's Up with That shirt. It's crazy.
I love it.
Necessary.
Okay, so first we had Lincoln
Witherspoon.
Arneal of
John
Husker,
Witherspoon.
Huskers Illustrated. Yeah, John Witherspoon. Huskers Illustrated come in, talk Husker volleyball. And then we dove into a Husker football discussion. So obviously I went to the Whipple press conference today. Brian Applewhite talked as well. And we were kind of diving into this quarterback situation and how worried are we that they haven't named a starter? When do we expect them to name a starter? We got a little bit of pushback on the text line of why the media thinks that they should name a starter or tell us. And I said, it's not more of that. It's more
pushback as to saying they think they should.
No, as saying that they don't need
care.
to.
Saying
They
that
don't need to.
we don't need to be told who the starter is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, I don't. It's not that I want to know who the starter is. I'm
Or
sure
need to
they
know,
know.
yeah.
It's just that 2 weeks ago you said that Casey Thompson's your number one, Chubba Purdy's your number two, Logan Sweater's your number three. 2 weeks later, after a scrimmage, you're like, well, I guess I'll let the head coach decide who's going to be the starter. That's what
Mark
your
Whipple said
offensive
today.
coordinator / quarterback coach said.
Who is supposed to be running this whole thing. Let's pause on that thought. We got to take 10 seconds for station ID. You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
So it's kind of interesting. Once again, Nick Sander, Enrique Alvarez, Curry, Eric Strickland with you on the crossover. Nathan, if you're listening, feel free to stumble in at any time. But I think it's fascinating, Strick, because I feel like Husker fans want to know that this program is going in a positive direction. They want to know that this staff has a plan in place, a plan in mind, and they're executing it. And I think first step of that is to name a starter. Now, I think another reason that this is a discussion point is because last Saturday, Scott Frost said to the media that he would have an idea of the depth chart after the scrimmage on Sunday.
Right.
And now here we are almost a full week later. And yes, we will hear from Scott Frost on Sunday before the team leaves for Ireland. But now it's kind of interesting because Mark Whipple comes out today, and all indications this whole offseason has been Mark Whipple saying that, or Mark Whipple being in charge of the offense. Sorry, got a text that I love to read. That says Nick going after Frost again. Mark Whipple being in charge of this thing now comes out and says Scott Frost is going to make the decision. And I think I just want to get the gauge of where Husker Nation's at 9 days away.
So I'm gonna push back, and I'm gonna say it could be deeper than what we're just missing that it's already been established.
Exactly.
Okay. There's two parts. One, we've already stated that we wanted Scott Frost to be the CEO. What does the CEO do? There's things that are laid out with regards to your different departments, your department of marketing, your strategic department, your understand all your C-level individuals that are making things happen within their specific areas and realms, right? CIO, so forth and so on. Okay. We've asked him to be that. He's spoken.
Yeah.
He's already spoken. So what Whipple is basically doing is running his department, and he's still putting that in the right person's hand to make those ultimate decisions as it comes down, because they're still collaborating. He said that. Scott Frost has already stated, he said, it is Casey Thompson's job to lose.
Yeah, 100%.
We haven't heard anything else about a loss or about a turn or a change. We have heard good things about Purdy's emergence, but at the same time, we still haven't heard anything of him saying it's lost.
Well, and I think what's so interesting, and this is where give credit to the coaching staff, because we talked to Brian Applewhite today as well, and we were asked, hey, is there a number one? Because it's depth chart season. Like, this is the time frame in the next coming days where we'll get to learn the depth chart most of the time. They'll send one out. They'll send it out in the media guide, and you'll kind of have an idea of how fall camp was kind of orchestrated, I suppose.
Once you're a week away, usually that Monday or that Tuesday, you get the depth chart, and then we just break it down.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, you don't read too much into it because obviously, things can change. So like Brian Applewhite, and this is where you give credit to the coaches, because it does give me a sense of confidence that they are communicating and that there is transparency within the rooms. Because Brian Applewhite said, I'm going to put in my 2 cents. He's going to meet with Scott Frost in response to, hey, is there a number one back? He said, I'm going to meet with Scott. I'm going to meet with Coach Whipple all together. I'm going to put my 2 cents in. Coach Whipp's going to put his 2 cents in, and Scott Frost is going to put their 2 cents in.
Mm-hmm.
And then Scott Frost is going to make the decision.
Yeah.
That tells me there is communication.
Yeah.
The
hierarchy is established.
Yes. There's organization and there's transparency.
Okay.
And so that's where there is confidence in where this thing is going for me personally.
So let me add on to this. What better way? Obviously, there's 2 parts. You haven't heard of Northwestern.
Mm-hmm.
They've only had one basic conference to where they're talking and anything, what's going on. And there's good in that. And for us in media, it stinks. It sucks. Nebraska is what better way strategically in preparation for a game of this magnitude, with a coach of his stature and capabilities. The least amount of information you put forth and you show forth is the thing that you must then have to prepare for in a wide scope of around. When you've got that kind of depth and that kind of situation, you have the ability to both run and pass. They're coming in possibly thinking you're trying to pass, and then you do something that no one understands and knows. Let me tell you why I say this. When I was playing in Bellevue West, we were due to play Central. Central had a phenomenal running back by the name of Calvin Jones. Calvin Jones, everybody knew was a star. He was the guy. He was the leading running back in the state at that time. We, that whole week, prepared for Calvin Jones.
Megatron.
Oh, no.
It's that. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he was.
We prepared for Calvin Jones. Okay. Calvin Jones, we find out late, like on a Friday, that he's not going to be playing due to injury. We don't know who this next guy is. I still can't tell you his name right now. But he comes in and has almost 200 yards on us rushing because we were expecting the style of Calvin Jones. And this guy comes in with power, shiftiness, and some speed. And we're thinking straight line speed, covering the outside. And our whole plan went out the window when this guy comes in and rushes. So that's what I'm saying could be the issue. And the thing with Nebraska is the least you give up on who to prepare for. You have 2 different types of guys. Casey Thompson's uniquely different than Purdy. Purdy has better feet and the ability similar to
and possibly a better
Adrian
thrower
Martinez
as well. Yeah,
right?
has a better arm. Maybe
stronger.
Maybe up top in the mind, the IQ of Casey Thompson might be a little sharper as well, just because the experience that comes with him.
I get that, but at the same time, Whipple's going to run his offense the way that he wants to run his offense. I know he's going to base it a little bit on whatever quarterback he has. If he has Trevor Purdy in the game, maybe he runs him a little bit more. But at the same time, they don't want to run their quarterbacks. They want to rely mostly on their running backs.
But you still have to prepare differently from a pocket passing quarterback.
Yeah. But
so how would you
Chuba
prepare?
himself has said that he wants to be more of a pocket passer.
I understand that, but his capabilities change the dynamic. It's like if Tom Brady's in the pocket,
you got to go to strengths.
And
you got to use your
you
strengths.
have Lamar Jackson as the backup. You still got to prepare for Lamar Jackson as if, your lines change dramatically on your rush as opposed to, you understand?
Yeah.
So that's an additional thing you'd have to prepare for. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they're trying to add those additions. I'm just saying there's different preparations for different guys with different qualities of skill.
Now, here's another thing that I will say after talking to Brian Applewhite today. I would not be surprised to see 4 running backs in Nebraska's game against Northwestern.
I'm hoping that's the case.
I would not be surprised.
Are you buying 150 or over?
For one guy,
150
rushing collectively rushing.
Yes, over
100. Yes, okay. I would as well.
Easily.
So we got this question at the end of the second segment that I wanted to get to, and now that Strick's here, it's even better because now we can kind of debate this. Are you guys opposed to having different running backs start week to week based on different defenses Nebraska is going to see? One running back might work better against Northwestern than Oklahoma, for example.
Facts.
I think I am all for that as long as it's with purpose.
Yes.
Last year we saw that to where different guys started, different guys finished the game, and guys were taken out in really weird times in the game.
Yes.
You could look at it and say, what's the purpose? What is the end goal here?
I am for that as long as you don't have a guy who went for
Yes.
150
and you
against Wisconsin, and then you're like, okay, well, you don't stack up well against Iowa, so we're gonna have some. No. He just had 150. Keep the train rolling.
There's got to be some purpose to your decision making, and I truly believe there will be.
10 rushes are for like 10 yards. Then yeah, sure, pull.
Understandable.
Yeah,
I understand that.
You're able. That's what makes a good coach. Once again, and this is where I think it's so different this year because you have different position coaches in place, and I think guys that are better fit for the Big Ten and for this job at Nebraska. What makes a really good coach is the ability to adjust, right? Whether it's on the small scale, ends within a drive, within a quarter, within a half, within a game, but then also on a week-to-week basis. I think that's a big key on what makes a good coach a great coach is the ability and confidence to adjust. And for example, once again, I'm all for having a running back by committee approach because there's a way that running back by committee can be purposeful and sustainable. However, the way that it's been laid out, the way that they've operated with that whole running back by committee approach the last 3 or 4 years has not been sustainable. And that's why Nebraska's rushing attack has kind of suffered. That's why they've lost a lot of guys in that room, is because it feels like there's just been no method to the madness.
Right.
However, there's new people in charge. And when you hear from Brian Applewhite, you just get a sense of confidence. And he was very upfront. Like, it's not a matter of if you get hurt. It's a matter of when you get hurt when you're a running back. And he said, we're going to have guys banged up, so we need a 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. He goes, where there's no drop-off if somebody else comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something to kind of look forward to as well. All right, that'll do it for the crossover. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us all day long. Shout out to Lincoln Arneal for stopping in the studio, talking a little Huskers volleyball. If you missed any of that, you can head over to theticketfm.com and check out the podcast page as well. Tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow would be officially 8 days from kickoff. We'll talk to Zach Carpenter of Inside Nebraska. He was at the press conference today, so we'll talk to him tomorrow at 1:30. And it's also Good Sense Friday tomorrow, so it's going to be a great day. Hope you guys join us.
Delicious.
But that'll be all for us today. Thanks for hanging out. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. See ya.
Adios.